Okay, hello all you crazy people out there. My name is Michael, I like wizards and dragons and making games, and welcome back to Making Tower Defense Games in Game Maker Studio 2.3 in 3D. So, I was conflicted on whether or not I actually wanted to do this now or later. I said at the end of the last video that I would do something along the lines of a path editor in 3D space, so that you can actually place down nodes in level design for where you want the enemies to go, without having to just like eyeball it. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to do more like editor stuff or if I finally wanted to move on to gameplay things. I have decided that I will be doing the former, because I don't want to have to deal with the path editor in 3D anymore. It's great. Paths are great when you're using Game Maker rooms normally. They're less great when you're trying to do your own thing in a 3D world. So I will be ending the game before I die and get an annoying pop-up. I will be doing that now. So, a few changes that I will make before doing that. One is I will be making the temporary like ground checkerboard grid thing slightly less temporary. I will be making it. I will be making new. I'm not sure what I did there. I will be making a new sprite. And I will be calling it SPR_ground. And let us edit the image. And let's make it a sort of foresty green sort of thing. That works. There can be multiple different ground types for different levels later on. Let us mark that as a separate texture page. And instead of using SPR_grid for the ground texture, we will be using the ground. Now the grass is actually going to be green, and I probably should have done this in the last video, but it never occurred to me, so I'm going to do it now. There we go. That looks much more like a level. There's also the question of whether or not I want some sort of things in the background before the skybox, like mountains and stuff. I will probably do that. I will probably not do that now. I don't really think that is something I should be spending time on now. So, let's see. Should I put this in the temporary stuff folder, or should I make another folder called graphics and put it there? I think I'll make another folder called graphics. Except I'll call it graphical stuff because everything is automatically 50% better if you append stuff to the name. And I guess I'll put shader selected in there also. Path test is something that is mostly temporary, because I will be getting rid of that by the end of this video probably, but I will concern myself with that later. Let me make a commit. What did I just do? I will ask one of my friends what he thinks about the level design soon. And go from there. When it comes to stuff like how the level is composed visually and color-wise and that sort of thing. Okay, another thing I want to do is, before I actually think about where these models are actually going, I would like some sort of visual indication of where the path will be. So I'm going to look at the Kenny models again, and I am going to run them through Penguin. Let me rotate the up axis so that they're flat with the Z as the up axis. As you can see, these are 3 stones, 3 stone-looking things, and okay. I don't know if I like the fact that they've got green on the top. I will go with these for now, and if I think they blend into the floor too closely, I will recolor them. Let's see. Just in case, because I remember I had problems with this before. I'm pretty sure I fixed this in an update to Penguin at some point. That sounds so bad out loud. But the surface normals when you rotate the up axis also seem to be rotated now, which is good. And now I will export these. Let's see. There is no select folder built into Game Maker's file selecting capabilities, so I kind of have to do a dumb workaround there, and maybe I could yank something like that in via Windows API later. Anyway, I'm going to look for the files I just saved, make sure they are in the correct place, and what were they? Rock flat or something? Small flat, A, B, and C. Okay. Should be able to go now. The 000. Okay, those are just, the 000 is just replaced from the file names if they're there. If they're not there, it'll just not do anything. And I'm going to slap a few rocks down to form something that looks like a trail. Okay. Go into edit mode, and where is the F4 and F5? Okay, I had to remember which keys I had stuck the model cycling functions to, and they are F4 and F5. Let me make those slightly bigger. Yeah, those are still a little bit small. Let me make those another. Let me double the size of those again. Okay. Just in case. They look very strange when you remove the normal information. I will be going with flat normals, and let me export those again. Save all those there and run the game, and they should be somewhat bigger. So placing down nodes for a path is going to be much like the other objects. A lot of the code for that has already been written, so I won't have to deal with it. That is a watermelon. That is not a path. Where are they? Rock, small, flat. All right, so let me. Apparently, those did not get resized. Did I save them in the wrong place? That's fairly important. So let's try again. There we go. Those are bigger. You can see. F12 moved to a new location. You can see where they are a little bit better. And I will be... Do I want to have the path cross over itself here? I kind of do. Let me just draw a path somewhat, and I will throw down other rock types later.
God, I remember when I was editing the last video last time, I made several comments about how... That's a little far out there. I made several comments about how I should probably implement a camera tilt up and tilt down feature sometime one of these days. And for example, I cannot see what is behind some of these trees because they're a little too close together, and let me have this move out a little bit more first. It's a little bit of a hindrance. Okay. So that is rock A. Small flat rock A. We're going to be throwing down some small flats rock B. On the one hand, I'm kind of looking forward to doing like just level design videos or things of that nature in the future. On the other hand, I feel like for a lot of people this actually probably isn't that interesting, hence why I sped it up last time, so that at least then you have the benefit of hearing my voice in a funny sounding with a funny sounding like pitch effect. But I'll try to cluster the level design into their own videos, so that anyone who's not super into that thing can skip those and not have to worry about it. These are a little bit far out there. No. We'll put that there instead. There we go. And small flat C. There are only 3 types of these rocks right now. Also, the fact that they're rotated randomly when they are placed in the world does make it look like there are many more types of rocks than there actually are, which I like. Definitely beats having to make multiple assets when you could just get away with rotating them in funny ways. Okay. I think that'll do. You can see where the path is going now. You can see, I mentioned crossover points where you could probably stick down a single tower, and I should probably save, huh? F1.
Bombardier is over here. Maps. Map.bug. Points where you could put down a single tower, and it would be able to hit the foes on multiple passes. For example, here, when they're coming out of the termite mound, and here where they're going into the other termite mound, or whatever that's supposed to be, as well as when they go around the loop. And generally some inside of curves, so that there is slightly more perimeter of the track where the tower can hit them. All right, tower defense strategies. Gotta love them. So, if I just let this run now. Oh, obviously they're not actually going to follow the path because I haven't told them to. Okay. Let's time to do that. I don't want this video to go on for 45 minutes like the last one did. One, those are kind of a pain in the neck to edit, and two, audience retention does drop off, which tells me that I'm going on for too long, among other things. We are following the path, and instead of using a path, I'm going to use an array of, I suppose, vectors. Might as well. This is foe, right? Entity foe. Entity foe. And each foe has a path that they follow. And okay. Yes, very much. I can do this. Let me, instead of defining a path, define something in the setup portion of the game world, and this is going to be I'll make that an array. On the one hand, it might make sense for this to be a DS list because I will be adding stuff to it. On the other hand, I'm only going to be adding stuff to it in editor mode, and it won't really affect gameplay, and as much as pushing stuff onto arrays is somewhat slow, it's tolerable when it only happens when you click the mouse inside the editor. Much more acceptable than when you're doing it during gameplay. Okay. Where are foes spawned is the next question. This is wave. Okay, so when I construct a wave, I would like it to have information about what path it should stick the enemies on. Actually, do I? Yeah, I do. What did I just, path nodes is going to effectively be the path. And when you go into wave and spawn a thing, oh, I also need to add it to the constructor. Like that. When you spawn a thing, which is, I believe, here, we are going to set you on that path. And when you go into the foe class, I'm gonna minimize these, or at least collapse them so that they take up slightly less space. We are going to also set them on a path. So self.path is going to equal the parameter up there. And now I'm going to be in the business of replacing all of these things. Hang on, do I need to commit anything? I kind of do. Okay, so let me uncheck those, and uncheck those, and I believe, no, I didn't add grass, I added rocks. Like that. Back to here. I believe now all I need to do is replace things like path get to point x to, with things such as array path 0.x. Actually, if we assume path is going to be an array of vectors, I don't even need to construct a new vector. That's nice. Okay. Saving time. Oh no, I see. I am setting it. No, I can get rid of that too. I know what I'm doing. Destination is going to simply equal path and the vector stored in the path node. Okay. Path get number. This is going to be analogous to array length. And that may be all the instances of path functions that are here. Let me just check that. That includes the new ones. Yeah, okay. The only references here remaining are to the path node variable, and nothing to do with the actual GameMaker path. Okay. So if I run the game now, nothing good is going to happen. I don't know off the top of my head if it's going to crash or if it's going to just like not do anything, but there are 0 nodes in the path array, and if I were to send some things in, the game would just like not work. And we need to do something about that. Let's see. Just to see what happens, let me run the game. And we will see what happens when I send something in. I'm guessing we're gonna have some kind of array index 0 out of bounds issue. Variable not set before reading it. That will be because there are 0 things in the array, and we are trying to extract a variable from undefined, which is not going to work for obvious reasons. Okay. GameMaker paths have been replaced by an array of vectors. I can get rid of path tests, the resource, because that's not actually used anywhere. And we are well on our way to making a path editor. At least I need to not have Discord open, so that you can not see the memes that my friends are sending me when I'm recording these by accident. I mean, I need to commit that. So I'm going to be thinking about editor things again, and down here is where the actual editor code is running. I could add like a new mode, but instead I think I will say, actually, yeah, that's fine. So, where is this defined? Let's just say editor path mode. If you hit a key, I'm just gonna randomly assign something to F2. We're gonna say editor path mode is going to be negated. Let's see. Let's do different things based on... Let's draw some stuff on the screen. If editor path mode, else we're going to be doing the normal stuff. Also, by the way, I would like to put F4 and F5 on the screen so that I don't have to guess next time I come back to this. We will say click to spawn and click to spawn and select a path node.
Okay. Then I would also like to disable the rest of this stuff. Can I, 1, collapse that, and 2... we will be doing something along the lines of this, which will serve to separate this into 2 parts. Okay.
So I'm going to be looking at how I've done things in the past. For one, to start with, if mouse check button pressed, this currently spawns an object, and entity hover and editor hover entity is going to equal, let's see, we can say path nodes instead. So all environment entities is a DS list, and path nodes is an array. I could make all environment entities itself an array and just go with arrays for this, for very much the same reason. How much do I want to mess with old code? This is why you would ideally plan stuff out on paper more than I am here. I initially wanted to plan very little out on paper so that you could hear my thought process as I went through things, but it's quickly kind of becoming apparent that one, I could do that even if I've drawn these conclusions beforehand, and 2, I am spending a lot of time going back and forth on things, more than I really wanted to. I would like to do other series like this in the future after I finish this one, and if and when I do that, I will probably do a little bit more planning ahead, as far as like game architecture and stuff goes. Alright, for now, where is get under cursor? Defined. I can treat this as an array or a list. Okay, conditional operator to the rescue. So we are going to be just checking to see if the parameter is an array or not. If it is, you're going to be treating it like an array. If it's not, you will be treating it like a list. That's straightforward enough. Should be performant enough. It's not that complicated, and we will be ignoring it for now. Probably at the end, I will go through and clean up my code because I do like to do that once in a while. I'll see how much garbage I can fix without breaking the whole game. Source control is wonderful. If something breaks, you can just revert it. But editor stuff here. Let us not do that now. Just comment it out. Let's see if this runs without breaking. To see if I have correctly separated this into two parts. I don't think there's really going to be that many more. I don't think there's really going to be that many more F2, I think. I can definitely click things without breaking it in here, and I can definitely click things without breaking it in here. I don't think there are going to be too many other editor modes. Otherwise, I would use a switch statement with a bunch of different editor states. Of course, every time I say something like that, it comes back to bite me, such as with this get into cursor thing or whatever. But I am going to not deal with that right now, for better or for worse. If it blows up my face later, so be it. I'm gonna regret saying that in 3 months. Okay, point is, this works. I can commit this change. And I'm going to... Let's see. Okay, let's uncomment this now that I'm somewhat satisfied that it works. I don't need the stuff if you're hovering over something right now, though, because that will never be true currently, because there's nothing in the list. I do want to spawn a new vector 3. Like, all this rotation scale, this is not going to be relevant. I will not need to dslist add it to any of these lists, but what I will need is array push, which is a new function in GameMaker Studio 2.3.1, which just appends something to the end of an array. Array push to path nodes and new vector 3, which is just a list of nodes, a list of points, coordinates, space, dimensions, whatever. That is going to be position.x, position.y, position.z. I could technically just say position. Is get floor intersect, and that just returns a new vector 3 that is discarded otherwise, right? Floor intersect. Yeah. Okay, I don't know if reusing a reference to that is going to cause issues. I don't think it will. I like to live on the edge. Okay. I also don't need spawn name anymore. Actually, you know what? Never mind, hang on. It's going to be more complicated than this. Since I want this to have collision information, this is going to need to have some relationship to entity. Okay. I can't be quite that clever. Let me go into entity. They have collision information all on their own, which is great. Should I put this in wave? I'm going to put this in wave. I'm going to put all the path and wave stuff together. So we're going to have entity path node. It's going to derive from entity. Ooh, okay, so I can't just say. This is where a programming interface would be really nice. Interfaces are the best thing ever from object-oriented programming. They're not like graphical user interfaces or anything like that. They are an interface for the programmer to ensure that certain code exists in an object, which does not necessarily have to inherit from some other object. They're very flexible. You can use them for a lot of things. I am going to simply say position equals this. They do need to share some information with entities such as collision and the raycast, but all of this stuff like destroy, save, begin update, it doesn't need, and there's no real sense in having it actually inherit from that. Self.position equals position. The bounding box bounds, I'm going to make this sort of like a sphere-ish. Let's say the position is -8, -8, -8 to +8, +8, +8, instead of whatever it is now. And now I should be able to at least treat it with something like collision information. If GML was a properly object-oriented language, I would be able to say path node implements the like collidable interface or something like that. But this is good enough for our purposes here. So we'll just say add a new path node wrapped with that position wrapped around that position instead. And I would like a way to actually see that it's there. Do I have a like a test sphere or anything like that in these model files? Faux skybox test ball. I think I do. Let me just open this up so that it is visible, so that I can see that it is indeed a sphere, preferably with something like smooth shading. All right, it's definitely a sphere. I wish I could find out why closing Model Creator for GameMaker makes OBS turn the screen black for like half a second. No doubt something to do with all the like graphical surface hacks that Model Creator has to use because it was made in GameMaker 7 back before the days of like GameMaker Surface Fix and whatever. Anyway, to actually draw those on the screen, let's borrow the render code from environment entity or something. Let's see, render. We can give this a render method. It can be very much stripped down, I think. Oh no, not really. There's not too much excessive stuff in here. Just the rotation, which it does not have, and scale, which it does not have. So rotation can be zeroed out, and scale can be an identity. Where are you? Where is render? In here, we can do a little bit of if gameplay mode equals gameplay modes dot editor or whatever. And then if editor path mode. And then if this condition is true, we can iterate over the path nodes array and render each of the things in it. Once again, change that to an array path nodes of I dot render. Okay. So this is super basic. This is going to be putting a bunch of balls on the screen. And let's say hit the tab key and let's say, what was it, F2. I can stick something down there. Nope, nothing is happening. If I really spam, well, I was gonna say is the frame rate slowly tanking as I do that, but let's see how many things are in that array. Or if it's not rendering it for other reasons. Oh, you know what? I know why. Because we were trying to test for gameplay mode, not editor mode. Okay. And we have a crash because there's no vertex buffer, which makes sense. So we should be drawing world.testball instead. I can't say I care enough about these to assign them their own vertex buffer or anything. I don't really foresee any path nodes having a different type, which would require them to look differently in the editor so that you can tell them apart. What was it? Game. I've already forgotten. Game.test_ball. Okay. An easy error to make. Okay, so we are now drawing paths. Draw failed due to invalid input layout. That is a shader error. Some sort. And when it happens, oh god. That is not doing kind things to performance. When I hover over each of these things, the balls. Shader_selected as having issues. Is test ball is being loaded with just the regular vertex, the same vertex format as everything else, right? I don't see why that should be causing an issue. Position, normal, color, text coordinate, and oh, okay, I see. Where did that come from? Was that just always there since when I Okay, past self. Can I take out... Oh god, what was it? Chickens. Optional. I can get rid of that, by the way. I don't plan on doing that. And the shaders. Can I just nuke that? Unlit does not have it. Fragment is the only one that had that, and I don't know why. That had to have been there for... That had to have been there by accident. There's no way I was using an extra vertex attribute in this game. Of course, that still leaves the question of why it was working properly before, but okay. Whatever you say. Now it's gonna break completely, isn't it? It's a separate issue. That is an issue that I fixed in a more recent version of alpha. Ref should be like 0.9. That is an issue that I fixed in a more recent version of chickens. Of luminous chickens. Like half the pixel scan lines weren't there. Anyway. It's still doing it. Drawing is still failing due to an invalid input layout. And I still do not know why. Well, first, let's separate this into a couple commits. One is going to be add path nodes when you click. 2 is going to be a spelling error, basically, is what that boils down to. Don't get rid of the extra vertex attribute in fragment shading. I think that is, I'm pretty sure that is not there in the version of Click that I have on itch. I will have to check that after I do this video. Oh. Hang on. Why did these get deleted? Oh no, those are like ghost scripts, which GameMaker has a habit of creating for reasons which I do not understand. Fix alpha testing in Cluck. There we go. And now that leaves the issue of exactly what is going on in the first place. The annoying thing about that draw failed due to invalid input layout error message is, it doesn't actually tell you what shader it's coming from, or what line it's coming from, or anything. Which is problematic, to say the least. I can get rid of this printout now because I know they're there. Oh, you know what? I think I know what it is. It might have been the UI. It might have been trying to draw the UI with the other shaders. Because like draw text, draw sprite, those things in GameMaker, they have their own vertex format. There we go. They have their own vertex format, which is it does not include a surface normal, because normally in normal GameMaker you don't need things like surface normals, but in my case they are there, which is trying to draw UI with the surface normal does not work very well. Okay. So there's one more thing. I can put that back to the way you were. I'm going to be drawing you with the unlit shader because, to be honest, something that's only going to appear in the editor anyway, having a shader is probably kind of distracting, and I would like it to not be there. I would just like to see colored circles like that. Okay, excellent. Yeah, this video ended up going on for way too long. Instead of posting something today that's an hour 20 minutes, I'm just gonna cut this in half. I'm gonna say the first half of this is like path setup or something, and then next week's video is going to be the actual implementation. I hope that doesn't bother anybody too much, but yeah, there's no way I'm going to post a video that's an hour 20 minutes long. The code for this is in the video description if you want it. Check for the 0.17 release. I have a Patreon, so if you want to contribute towards these videos being made, there's links to that in all the usual places. Otherwise, I try to post about 2 of these videos a week. I hope you found that interesting, and I will see you all later. Special thanks to David Key, Edward Holt, Indie Punch, and Zenith for supporting these videos. If you want your name in the credits or to get a shoutout at the end, head on down to the Patreon page in the video description and join the fun.